Ultimately, my only goal as an artist is just to be a part of the art historical record, but I'd love to be someone who is known for capturing the mood, the atmosphere, and the reality of the time that I lived in. It seemed like the other half of the country came to realize that this, practice of like abusing black bodies through policing was a normal part of the lived experience. The 12 commandments came from, 12 being slang for police and contemporary rap culture, and a series of 12 police demands that could ultimately end up in the death of a black person. I thought it might be important to do a series about it. I thought about the concept, and then I thought about the material. What am I going to make these out of? Am I going to do photographs? Am I going to do video? And then I thought, why not use bronze? Bronze has typically been a medium that was used by the elite. We use bronze to tell stories about war heroes and about people connected to violence. And so what would it look like to tell story about maybe the have-nots or people whose socioeconomic standing? Would it demand that bronze be used to tell a story like that? I usually get a lot of positive feedback. They went from the Foundry to the Cincinnati Art Museum, and now they're in New York. They're definitely speaking to people, and it's definitely resonating. They really are beautiful, and when I look at them, I forget all about the pain that they're inspired by and the pain that I go through when I'm posing for them. I always come into these poses thinking that it's gonna be a piece of cake, honestly. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be fun, and then it's never fun.
No, I don't want to rip anything off. Ah! That.
Everything that happens in this studio is work that I'm not sure about in terms of what it's going to look like. I'm sure about the idea and the stuff that kind of motivates the work, but I'm not sure about the final result. So I'm just trying to focus on the narrative, and I'll let the materials kind of speak for themselves. And if that opens up another opportunity for me, then I welcome it, because I'm not just making this work so I can sit in a room with it by myself. I operate with the understanding that the change that is necessary, the changes that is required, isn't necessarily change that I'm going to be around to see, right? So instead, I choose to be a part of the change. I make work that helps fuel the conversation. I make work that becomes a segue into a conversation with your parents that you might not have otherwise had, because you didn't have this friend Michael who made this crazy work where he turned himself from a black guy to a white guy, or whatever. It's all about finding more creative ways to get the work in front of people. A lot of people don't go to the museum, so they might not see my work in the museum. So what happens when you put it outside on the wall? It's impactful in a different way. I believe that this is a story worth telling. How many times do we have to see this happen before someone does something? I mean, I don't have the power to change anything per se. So, in my sphere of influence, which is, the art world, maybe I can make something that helps promote the change that I'd like to see.